Welcome to Testimony Tuesdays. Okay, so excited that God released me to release this to y'all after God just blessed me with another testimony to release, but not before I release this one. Okay, so I'm gonna say in October, God told me that I was going to jail. And I thought it was the devil. Now, what I had forgot that God didn't remind me to the latter was that I had asked God to bless me to discern the difference between him and the devil, of stuff that I feel like I wouldn't want to hear, because I have been conditioning myself to accept whatever God has me to go through, and not mistake it for the devil, which means that I need to be able to hear stuff that I feel like I wouldn't want to hear. And who would ever expect God to tell them they're going to jail, right? So God told me that. So fast forward, it was the night. Okay, so November 12th, my mom was drinking, and ever since my father died on Thanksgiving, which is November 24th, 2016, my mom has been drinking literally every day or every other day. I think she went a week without drinking one time within the past 8 years. She has been drinking, and she became very verbally and physically abusive. She would make up things like, I raped my daughter, I had sex with my dad, I stole her panties, just a whole bunch of stuff. She calls me the devil. It's just so much. But she doesn't do that when she's sober. She only do it when she's drunk. She loves me and appreciates me and thanks me when she's sober, because I help her so much. She told me that I help her get her strength in 2016, which was right before my father passed. And I have been playing gospel music for her recently, and praying for her and praying over her and stuff, and using my healing abilities to take away her arthritis, all this different stuff. So she was thanking me. But so society will call it schizophrenia. But what God told me is just everything that has ever been said and done to her that's being purged out, because she had always been shut down, called crazy, and abused even before she met my father, who abused her for over 40 years before he died. He literally died being mean. She said her mom would always tell her that she was crazy and just to be quiet and stuff like that. And so she never felt comfortable expressing herself. And so all of those things have to come out eventually, which is why people lash out, which is why people do things like drop their keys and have a total meltdown, because everything before that moment is coming out. It's not just about the keys. That's why people take things out on you, and I'm sure you have taken things out on people too that they didn't deserve, because it reminds you of something that you went through in the past that you did not heal from nor address properly with God. God just told me to say that. Okay, because you can't heal without God. Ding, ding, ding. That's what God did in my head. He showed me a bell. Defeated the enemy. All right, back to the story. So my mom was drinking, and she was just belittling my brother for hours. This is what she would do. For these past 8 years, she would literally yell for hours, not saying words, but literally just the sound of yelling for hours. And she would just start saying belittling things to me and my brother. And we wouldn't do anything to her. She would literally just come to us and do it. And so out of these past 8 years, I would say that I have physically done something back 3 times, and maybe said something back to her maybe I don't know how many times. I'm gonna say within the past 8 years with her doing this every day or every other day, I didn't say anything back to her no more than 13 times. I don't believe I have. So she has cut my face before with glass in her hand. She has threw bleach in my room. She literally banged down her own house door, which was attached to the room that I was in. And had to replace it. She literally banged out the light to her own ceiling fan. She threw baby oil in my room before. She told a younger guy that she was dating my age to literally come in my room and have sex with me because she knew that he wanted me because I was younger. Like just a whole bunch of like different stuff. And she called the police on me like at least like 5 times, but the police never take anybody, or they either take her because they can see that she is the one who has the problem. And she has even gotten disrespectful with the police too. Well, this time the police took me. So before that, let me go back a little bit. So she was belittling my brother for hours, and so I went to go take her liquor and pour it out. Now God is teaching me how to be bold and how not to be an enabler and a people pleaser. So I'm like, it's no way that if Jesus was here that he would sit there letting her continue to drink. Like, okay. So I poured out her liquor. So she filled up a bag with a whole bunch of ice and threw it in my room and told me to get out her house. And so I sat by her door playing gospel and praying. And then she threw something else at me. And so I saw that she had beer in her room. And so I went to grab that beer and she wrestled me over the beer. So I poured the beer out on her, and then she was grabbing me and we was like tussling back and forth and stuff like that. And I tried to like cast the demons out of her and stuff like that, and she was like steady fighting me, and she kept saying, get out of her house, get out of her house. I'm like, boy, these are demons. Now fast forward to a little bit before that. I had moved back there spiritually because I literally needed to heal from the things that I needed to heal from before I could move forward. Okay, but physically it seemed like I moved there because I did not have the money to move on my own, which doesn't have nothing to do with it because God always provides what we need, right? So I'm literally healed from everything because before I had moved there, I literally, before I had moved back there, I literally was in my dream place and had my dream truck and just having the greatest life that I ever had during COVID, where a time where people are like obviously very unhappy and scared and even dying. But all I could worry about was if her and my brother were going to kill each other. So I did not have peace in this new place. Well, where God was taking me after I left her house, I could not have that same mindset. So God sent me back there to fully heal. And which I fully did, because now I will not worry about anything like that, and I know how to move forward with her and stuff like that. So God led me to 2 Bible verses. One, hold on, let me look at my phone right quick. One is Genesis 12:1. It's about leaving your father's house. Okay, Genesis 12:1. Now, December 1st is when my parents first moved in that house, okay? This is why you have to know God, because the Bible is more powerful than you could ever think. And then God led me to another Bible verse, which is Matthew 19:5-6. Both of my parents were born in 1956, okay? No way in the world you can call anything like that just happening, okay? God is too precise for that, okay? Now, mixed with the first day that I had moved there, I saw this flash of lightning hit my bed. And I kept on hearing, get out of your father's house, get out of your father's house. And I'm like, well, I do want to get out. So it's like, Mom, you're hearing this, okay? So fast forward back to this night. She's saying, get out of her house, get out of her house. I said, she's speaking in third person. This is demons, all right? So the police come. Wait, okay, let me fast forward right before she came in my room and was throwing ice and stuff and all of that. Okay, so I poured out her liquor. And she started telling me to get out of her house or whatever like that. And so I had went in there and started singing in tongues, and I started praying, and it literally silenced those demons. The demons literally could not say anything. And I saw my mom call 911, and she couldn't even speak, and then she just hung up the phone. And I said, this is so powerful. So I'm talking to her kindly. I'm like, Mom, why are you doing this? And she was like, oh, now you're trying to play the victim. And I'm like, no, Mom, I'm literally asking you, like, are you okay? Like, why are you talking about my brother when there's literally nothing going on? And she's like, I'm not talking about him, you lying. When she's drunk, nothing makes sense. So it's never going to make sense. You can never get sense out of her when she's drunk, because it's literally not her, it's demons. So I saw that same flash of light and go by me, and I'm smiling. I'm like, this is God, right? So then I just go back to my room. And then that's when she come in there and throw something. And I said, all right. So I go to she go in her room and lock the door, and I sit by her door and play gospel or whatever. And I'm praying the whole time. And then she throws something else. And then that's when I saw the beer or whatever, and we started testing it and then all of that. And then I poured the beer out on her, and like, she was grabbing on me and stuff like that. And then I finally just walked away. And then that's when she called the police, and then they came and they asked both of us our story, and they took me. And I'm like, well, after they asked both of our story, the woman was like, stand up. And as soon as I stood up, God was like, I told you was going to jail, but you didn't believe me. So I'm still thinking, this is the devil, because of the tone that God said it is. God does not have to speak to me sternly, because I willingly do whatever God tells me to do. So I also had to master learning all of the different ways that God speaks. So God had to teach me by like just basically speaking to me in every tone so I can understand it, because I was never going to be disobedient to God, so where he had to speak to me in that time, but at the same time I have to master all the ways that God communicates. Okay, so that's what happened. Okay, so they take me out or whatever, and they telling me why they took me or whatever, and it was like they can hold you up to 72 hours and stuff like that. So I'm just smiling, like praying the whole time, praying over the police or whatever, and I'm just being as calm as I can. And so I get in there, and we sitting down, and this girl who came in at the same time as me. So I look over at her socks, and it got dry bones on there. I said, this is a Bible verse. I said, yeah, God definitely sitting here. This is God. Then I look on the floor in front of me. It's a cross, not an X, because you can tell the difference between a cross and an X. It's literally a cross. I said, all right, yep, this is definitely God. Okay, so then I get to the little detention holding space, and every single person in there believes in God. I was on the misdemeanor side, and right next to us, it was the felony side. They're in there rowdy, arguing, people having seizures, throwing up everything, anxiety attacks. We're calm. I think people argued like twice, and people got offended like 4 times, but they got right over it and started like pointing into each other, because all they was really asking was the girl to stop repeating herself and to stop just complaining and like just little stuff like that. So we all in there believers, so I'm praying and getting messages from God the whole time, stuff like that. This experience is so powerful. So I'm in there with 3 other women who have mother-daughter things going on. One of them was actually the mother. The other two was the daughter. And the two other women that was the daughters of the mother-daughter situations, mothers had mental illness. They had never met anybody else who went through it. I said, oh my God, God is showing why He here. Then we get into this place called the Hole. If you don't know what the Hole is, Google the Hole in jail. It's basically like an individual cell. We had to go in there for them to clean a little detention area space. And so we all in there. And this lady started, she 28, she started admitting that she was doing crack because her best friend introduced it to her. And she didn't want to do it anymore. She wanted to get right with her kids. And basically she had never seen anybody like do anything healthy or have like a higher state of mind. So we praying over her, and like we exchange like social media so we can keep in contact with her and stuff like that. So we speaking life into her. We hug and all of this stuff. And then this other girl, she hugged me, and I could just feel her heart. She was like, God got you. You are a beautiful person and stuff like this. I'm like, thank you. This is just so powerful. So God giving me all these messages and stuff like that. God was like, you not going back to like your mom's house and get out or whatever. So I'm like, all right. I really want this to be true, and I know this is you. And then the doubts is really crossing my mind, but I'm like, I know that them doubts not real. I can feel the difference between when something is really me and when it's not. I don't doubt God, so I know anything that's about God is really not me, but I still have to experience it because that's how God teaches me experiences. Like a lot of people, they have to experience everything externally, but God teaches me internally the majority of the time. So I literally go through scenarios in my head, how people make up scenarios in their head to try to protect themselves. No, God literally teaches me scenarios inside so I can learn from them and stuff like that, which includes emotions, obviously, and perceptions, because I'm a spiritual advisor, so that's how I have to help people. So every day different people coming in and stuff like that. So let me tell y'all what happened. I was in there for exactly 2.5 days. Exactly. Like, literally exactly. So, this girl who had just got in there the night before, she was like, we all have faith in God, and I just wonder, like, why is we in here? And God had been telling me the whole time while we in there, because I can just tell. So I'm like, we all keep saying that we believe in God, right? But we tried to handle it on our own in this situation. And that's what God is showing us, because when God has you, God is not going to keep letting you make the same mistakes. God is going to snatch you up and correct you real fast. So God snatched us up and correct us because we have to learn very fast. Whereas it seemed like a lot of criminals get away with it for years and stuff like that. Well, God is going to stop His children very, very fast. I'm not saying that the people that God don't stop fast are not His children. It's a certain anointing that's on certain people where God has to snatch them up really fast because of their purpose moving forward. So I'm like, we're in here because we all believe in God, and we know we're supposed to let God handle it, but in these situations, we handle it ourselves. And we can't keep doing that no more. And they all like, wow, that makes sense. Like, and it just hit them, right? As soon as I say that, they come to get me to tell me it's time for me to go home. And they all clapping like, oh my God, this was God. This was God. I knew I asked you that question for a reason. So I'm like, this is so beautiful. So the man who escorted me out, he was like, I got good news for you. God loves you. So I'm like, thank you. So I told him what I did in there. I told him that, like, God sent me to jail to deliver this message. On the way there, God's been speaking to me through numbers in 2016. That's how my spiritual acceleration started. 2016, I kept seeing numbers everywhere, thinking I was crazy. Okay. And so I saw, when I was getting out the police car, I saw 888 and 78 on there. 8 is the number for my spiritual awakening. 7 is my husband's favorite number. So I'm like, yeah, this is definitely God. So I'm just seeing all this stuff. So that was that. So that's that story. God sent me to jail to deliver them the message that they need to stop handling stuff on their own, to connect with that very young lady who was doing drugs, for all of us to understand that we're not the only ones who have mothers with mental illness. We're very talented. We all were just very like prissy, feminine, driven women. But God is done with people being partial and claiming Him. It's time for us to be 100%. We have seen what it looks like for people to have God 0% to 99%. Now we need to see 100% because 1% is a lot if you think about your whole life, okay? So, and I'm pretty sure it was a lot of other things in there. Oh, I saw the conditions of the jail, which started making me pray, which confirmed something else that God told me about how I'm going to bring change to things of that nature. So, this is why God sent me to jail, and that's what happened in there. And it was so interesting too because I was about to start eating, and I don't eat meat, and they was like giving people meat sandwiches and stuff like that. And I had asked the lady for some water, and she told me the only reason she told me no is because she couldn't tell me yes in front of all those women and stuff like that. And she was like, "Nah, you shouldn't have asked me that in front of all of them." But she was basically saying like probably whispered a little bit. She would have like let me. And I was even considering like lying to go to the nurse to get some water, but I knew that it wasn't right. And God told me don't drink that water in the jail, so I didn't drink that water in the jail. And all I do is drink water. So that was very important to me. But yeah, that's the story. And so what's so powerful too is a girl who was in there. She kept talking about her daughter's birthday. She had got out a few hours before me, and she was still there because she had to wait for whoever to pick her up to get off of work. And her daughter's birthday was tattooed on her wrist, and I kept on sensing the lottery. And why her daughter's birthday came out in the lottery, and then another lottery number had to do with the person's house that I went to temporarily while I got out of jail into the house, the place was ready that God was having me go to after that. That's another testimony in itself. That's about family restoration. I'm gonna make a testimony about that too. So that's all for now. If you have any questions, just let me know. It was very cold in there. They don't give you any blankets. They give you a mat that's about 3 inches thick. And I just prayed for God to keep me warm. And I just spoke to God the whole time, and just God had me. But that was a very powerful experience because it was just a very powerful experience, and I'm very honored. And thank you for listening. I am a spiritual advisor. Read the description area to learn more about what I do. I love you, and most importantly, God does too.